IEC 60320 is a set of standards from the International Electrotechnical Commission specifying non-locking appliance and interconnection couplers for connecting power supply cords to electrical appliances up to 250 volts. Appliance couplers enable the use of standard inlets in country-specific cord sets which allow manufacturers to produce the same appliance for many markets, where only the cord set has to be changed for a particular market. Interconnection couplers allow a power supply from a piece of equipment or an appliance to be made available to other equipment or appliances. Couplers described under these standards have standardized current and temperature ratings. Different types of connector are specified for different combinations of current, temperature and earthing requirements. Unlike IEC 60309 connectors, they are not coded for voltage. Users must ensure that the voltage rating of the equipment is compatible with the mains supply. Each type of coupler is identified by a standard sheet number. For appliance couplers, this consists of the letter C followed by a number, where the standard sheet for the appliance inlet is one higher than the sheet for the corresponding cable connector. Many types of coupler also have common names. The most common ones are IEC connector for the common C13 and C14, a figure-of-8 connector for C7 and C8, and clover leaf connector or Mickey Mouse connector for the C5 per 6. Kettle plug is a colloquial term used for the high-temperature C16 appliance inlet. Kettle plug is sometimes, incorrectly, used to refer to regular temperature C13 and C14 connectors. The first edition of IEC 320 was published in 1970. Application: detachable appliance couplers are used in office equipment, measuring instruments, IT environments and medical devices, among many types of equipment for worldwide distribution. Each appliance's power system must be adapted to the different plugs used in different regions. An appliance with a permanently attached plug for use in one country cannot be readily sold in another which uses an incompatible wall socket. This requires keeping track of variations throughout the product's life cycle from assembly and testing to shipping and repairs. Since a country-specific power supply cord can be included in the product packaging, model variations are minimized and factory testing is simplified. A cord which is fitted with non-rewirable connectors at both ends is termed a cord set. Appliance manufacturing may be simplified by mounting an appliance coupler directly on the printed circuit board. Assembly and handling of an appliance is easier if the power cord can be removed without much effort. Appliances can be used in another country easily, with a simple change of the power supply cord. The power supply cord can be replaced easily if damaged because it is a standardized part that can be unplugged and reinserted. Safety hazards, maintenance expenditure and repairs are minimized. Standards: parts of the standard, IEC 60320-1 specifies appliance couplers for household and similar equipment, two-pole couplers intended for the connection of a supply cord to electrical appliances. The female part connector supplies power to the male appliance inlet. The male part is designated by the even number 1 greater than the number assigned to the female part, so a C1 connector mates with a C2 inlet, and a C15A mates with a C16A. IEC February 2, 6320 specifies interconnection couplers for household and similar equipment, a means of enabling the connection and disconnection at will of an appliance or equipment to a cord leading to another appliance or equipment. It consists of two parts, a plug connector, which is the part integral with, or intended to be attached to, the cord, and an appliance outlet, which is the part integrated or incorporated in the appliance or equipment or intended to be fixed to it, and from which the supply is obtained. IEC February 1, 6320 specifies sewing machine couplers, which are not interchangeable with other couplers from IEC 60320, for use with household sewing machines. They are rated no higher than 2.5 amperes and 250 volts. IEC February 3, 6320 specifies couplers with a degree of protection higher than IPX0. IEC February 4, 6320 specifies couplers dependent on appliance weight for engagement. Contents of standards: the standards define the mechanical, electrical and thermal requirements and safety goals of power couplers. The standard scope is limited to appliance couplers with a rated voltage not exceeding 250 VAC at 50 Hz or 60 Hz, and a rated current not exceeding 16 A. Further subparts of IEC 60320 focus on special topics such as protection ratings and appliance-specific requirements. The shape and dimensions of appliance inlets and connectors are coordinated so that a connector with lower current rating, temperature rating, or polarization cannot be inserted into an appliance inlet that requires higher ratings. It is impossible, for instance, to connect a protection Class II connector, which has no earthing, to a protection Class I appliance inlet which requires an earth. The opposite is possible because it creates no safety hazard for the appliance user. The same applies to the nominal current and the pin temperature. This coding plays a significant role in the safe operation of appliances and the protection against improper use. Pin temperature is measured where the pin projects from the engagement surface. The maximum permitted pin temperatures are 70 AA degrees Celsius, 120 AA degrees Celsius, and 155 AA degrees Celsius, respectively. The pin temperature is determined by the design of the appliance, and its interior temperature, rather than by its ambient temperature. Typical applications with increased pin temperatures include appliances with heating coils such as ovens or electric grills. It is generally possible to use a connector with a higher rated temperature with a lower rated appliance inlet, but the keying feature of the inlet prevents use of a connector with a lower temperature rating. Selection of a coupler depends in part on the IEC appliance classes. Class I appliances must have their chassis connected to electrical earth and require a coupler with earthing. Class II double-insulated electrical appliances do not require a safety connection to electrical earth and can use a coupler with only two circuit conductors. Connectors are also classified according to the method of connecting the cord, either as rewirable connectors or non-rewirable connectors. In addition to the limiting values, the standards define further general criteria such as withdrawal forces, testing procedures, the minimum number of insertion cycles, and the number of flexings of cords. IEC 60320-1 codes the various coupler outlines using a combination of letters and numbers, for example, C14, while IEC February 2 6320 uses a single letter, for example, F. IEC 60320-1 defines a cord set as an assembly consisting of one cable or cord fitted with one plug and one connector, intended for the connection of an electrical appliance or equipment to the electrical supply. It also defines an interconnection cord set as an assembly consisting of one cable or cord fitted with one plug connector and one connector, intended for the interconnection between two electrical appliances. In addition to the connections within the standards, as mentioned, there are possible combinations between IEC 60320-1 and IEC February 2 6320. Fitted with a flexible cord, the components become interconnection cords to be used for connecting appliances or for extending other interconnection cords or power supply cords. Appliance coupler standard sheets. The dimensions and tolerances for connectors and appliance inlets are given in standard sheets, which are dimension drawings showing the features required for safety and interchangeability. C1 per ℧2 coupler. The C1 coupler and C2 inlet were commonly used for mains-powered electric shavers. These have largely been supplanted by cordless shavers with rechargeable batteries or corded shavers which use an AC adapter. C5 per ℧6 coupler. This coupler is sometimes colloquially called a clover-leaf coupler or Mickey Mouse. The C6 inlet is used on laptop power supplies and portable projectors, as well as on some desktop computers and recent LCD televisions from LG. C7 per ℧8 coupler. Commonly known as a figure-8 or shotgun connector due to the shape of its cross-section. It is also known as a Euro connector in electronic shops. A polarized C7 used to exist, but is not part of the standard. It was asymmetrical, with one side rounded and the other side squared off. The polarization features were poorly designed, in that a C7 PW cord could not be plugged into a C8 inlet, while a C7 cord would fit into a C8 PW inlet without regard to polarization. This coupler is often used for small cassette recorders, battery mains-operated radios, some full-size audio-visual equipment, laptop computer power supplies, video game consoles, and similar double-insulated appliances. Unpolarized C7 connectors can be inserted into polarized C8 inlets. However, doing so might be a safety risk if the device is designed to expect polarized power. A C8B inlet type is defined by the standard, for use by dual-voltage appliances. It has 3 pins, and can hold a C7 connector in either of 2 positions, allowing the user to select voltage by choosing the position the connector is inserted. C13 per carat 14 coupler. Most desktop computers use the C14 inlet to attach the power cord to the power supply, as do many instrument amplifiers, monitors, printers and other peripherals. Many AT form factor computers also provided a panel mounting C13 outlet controlled by the physical power switch for powering the monitor. With the arrival of ATX, the readily accessible permanent power switch was removed and the outlet was either permanently powered or completely removed. A power cord with a suitable power plug for the locality in which the appliance is used on one end and a C13 connector on the other is commonly called an IEC cord. IEC cords are used to power many pieces of electronic equipment, including computers, instrument amplifiers and professional audio equipment. Cables with a C14 coupler at one end and a C13 coupler at the other are commonly available. They have a variety of common uses including connecting power between older PCs and their monitors, extending existing power cords, connecting to C13 coupler strips and connecting computer equipment to the output of an uninterruptible power supply. There are also a variety of splitter blocks, splitter cables, and similar devices available. These, along with the cables mentioned above, are nearly always unfused, and in 230 of E countries the cables are often made with only 0.75 ohm cable which is rated only to 6A. Therefore, care must be taken to avoid overloading the cables and connectors when using such products. In some countries these cables are sometimes referred to as a kettle cord, or kettle lead, but the C13/14 connectors are only rated for 70 degrees, not 120 degrees rated for the C15/16 connector that are actually used for devices such as a kettle. C15 per carat 16 coupler. Some electric kettles and similar hot household appliances like home stills use a supply cord with a C15 connector, and a matching C16 inlet on the appliance. Their temperature rating is 120 AA°C rather than the 70 AA°C of the similar C13 per carat 14 combination. The official designation in Europe for the C15 per carat 16 coupler is a hot condition coupler. These are similar in form to the C13 per carat 14 coupler, except with a ridge opposite the earth in the C16 inlet, and a corresponding valley in the C15 connector. For example, an electric kettle cord can be used to power a computer, but an unmodified computer cord cannot be used to power a kettle. Many people are not aware of the subtle differences between the C13 per carat 14 and C15 per carat 16 couplers, and so all are loosely referred to as kettle plug and kettle lead and jug plug when referring to these mains cords. In Sweden, the Netherlands, Germany and some other countries the C15 per carat 16 coupler has replaced and made obsolete the formerly common type of appliance coupler in most applications. In the United Kingdom it has also replaced a once common large, round connector which had 2 round pins for power and a larger round pin for earth. These were common on kettles, particularly those from Russell Hobbs, and were also used on home brewing machines and large film projectors. C15A C16A coupler. There is also a C15A C16A coupler, with an even higher temperature rating. C17 per carat 18 coupler. Similar to C13 per carat 14 coupler, but unearthed. A C18 inlet will accept a C13 connector but a C14 inlet will not accept a C17 connector. The IBM Wheelwriter series of electronic typewriters are one common application. 3-wire cords with C13 connectors, which are easier to find, are sometimes used in place of the 2-wire cords for replacement. In this case, the ground wire will not be connected. The C17 per carat 18 coupler is often used in audio applications where a floating ground is maintained to eliminate hum caused by ground loops. Other common applications are the power supplies of XBOX 360 game consoles, replacing the C15 per carat 16 coupler employed initially, and large CRT televisions manufactured by RCA in the early 1990s. C19 per carat 20 coupler. Earthed, 16A, polarized. This coupler is used for some IT applications where higher currents are required, as for instance, on high-power workstations and servers, uninterruptible power supplies, power distribution units, large network routers, switches, blade enclosures, and similar equipment. It is rectangular and has pins parallel to the long axis of the coupler face. With drawn and other standard sheets, some connector types are no longer in the current standard. The C3 and C4 standard sheets, and the C11 and C12 standard sheets, are no longer listed. Standard sheet C25 shows retaining device dimensions. Sheet C26 shows detailed dimensions for pillar-type terminals, where the end of the screw bears on a wire directly or through a pressure plate. Sheet 27 shows details for screw terminals, where the wire is held by wrapping it around the head of a screw. Interconnection coupler standard sheets, the dimensions and tolerances for plug connectors and appliance outlets are given in standard sheets, which are dimension drawings showing the features required for safety and interchangeability. See also, AC power plugs and sockets, power entry module. IEC 60309 specifies larger couplers used for higher currents, higher voltages, and polyphase systems. IEC 60906-1A proposed standard for domestic wall sockets. NEMA connector North American standard for building receptacles and compatible cord connectors, references. IEC 60799 edition 2.0 electrical accessories are Euro cord sets and interconnection cord sets. International Standardized Appliance Connectors reference chart includes diagrams of all couplers, their rated current, equipment class, and temperature rating.